What is good, YouTube, and welcome back to a brand new video. As NBA fans, there's two things that we know officially. The draft is like 3 days away, and Bradley Beal was traded to the Phoenix Suns. Of course, we went ahead and already did that Bradley Beal Phoenix Suns rebuild, so today we're doing the other side of the trade, a post-Bradley Beal trade Wizards rebuild. Before we get into today's video, make sure you guys drop a like in this one and subscribe if you are new to this channel. As always, greatly appreciated. We're almost already so close to 36,000 subscribers. The channel is growing like crazy, so thank you guys so much for your continued support. You guys have been absolutely amazing, man. Thank you. Can't thank you guys enough. When it comes to the Washington Wizards, of course, the trade package that they got for Bradley Beal was a little lackluster. It was a bunch of second-round picks. Isaiah Todd and Jordan Goodwin were also in the trade route to the Suns. That has come out, and then a bunch of seconds. Chris Paul and Landry Shamet as salary filler to match Bradley Beal's contract. Underwhelming trade package for a guy like Bradley Beal. It obviously came to this because of no trade clause, just a terrible salary for Bradley Beal. So essentially, the Wizards just hit the reset button. It's not a great return, obviously, but they can move forward now with no Bradley Beal here, and I think that's a lot better than just trying to stay in purgatory, I guess, is the best way to describe it. It is said that Porzingis might accept his player option. I know in 2K he always declines it. So what I think I'll do is in free agency, I'll sign him to a 1-year deal like he did accept his player option. Then we can trade him to whatever team makes the most sense. Chris Paul, we're going to try to route him to a new team. Kuzma, I don't even know what I'm going to do with him yet. And then we got a bunch of other guys I feel like a lot of teams would value. And it's already been said by Woj that the Wizards are going to try to be the Oklahoma City Thunder 2.0, where they're going to take a lot of bad contracts on for first-round picks, which I think is a good direction for the Wizards to go in. They're going to be bad for a little bit, but obviously just getting as many picks as possible can accumulate to something good eventually. So let's jump straight into this draft. We do have the 8th overall pick in this one. So of course, Vic's going to go 1. Going to have Brandon Miller go 2. So that's going to be what the Hornets decide to do. Let's go straight to our pick. So pick number 8, we have a few options. We got Jet Howard, Anthony Black, Colby Jones, Cason Wallace, Taylor Hendricks, Derek White. There's a lot of good options. But for me, I took Anthony Black in a Wizard rebuild that I did when I did all the prospect rebuilds, right? And the lottery rebuilds. Today, I actually want to take Cason Wallace. It was reported that Cason Wallace had a workout with the Wizards and then canceled his workout with the Hawks the next day. So I don't know if that means the Wizards promised to draft him. Who knows? But I'm going to select Cason Wallace with this 8th overall pick, and we'll call it a day there. And now let's go to our second round. So in the second round, we can just kind of swing on potential, I guess. I can go like Chris Murray, who might become a role player for us eventually. And then we got one more selection, and we can go with, let's see, what else we got? We got Sasser, Anton Watson, Amari Bailey, Kyle Boswell, Olivier Prosper, Maxwell, who has gotten some really good, I think he's jumped up draft boards lately. So we'll just go ahead and take him here with that last selection. So if you take a look, we got Cason Wallace, Chris Murray, and Olivier Maxwell Prosper, I think is how his name is, but obviously it's just Olivier Prosper here. But player options, like I said, Porzingis always declines it, but to counteract that, I'm going to sign him to a 1-year deal like he accepted that player option, and we could trade him to wherever he wants to go. We'll see where we decide to send him to, and then I think I'm just going to decline Xavier Cooks, who's 27. We'll accept Kispert and Denny Avdija, of course. Qualifying offers, we got nothing, and then another step in this process is trading away Chris Paul. It's already been said he'll be routed to another team, so I do have a trade in mind that I want to try to execute here. So we're going to sign Porzingis to a 1-year deal. We're going to trade Chris Paul. There's a lot of trades coming, so just bear with me. This video is also probably going to be super long, so make sure you have your popcorn ready because this is about to be a long video, long drawn out, long rebuild process for this team. So the first trade we're going to try to do is send DeLon Wright over to the Cavaliers for Lamar Stevens in 2 seconds. I wonder if they could just take DeLon Wright outright. They could. So DeLon Wright for 2 second-round picks sounds pretty good to me. Let's just get something for him. We already have some guards that we want to play over him. So send him to Cleveland, get 2 seconds. That's a done deal. The next player we're trading away is going to be Chris Paul. It's already been said he'll be routed to another team, and the Clippers are one of the teams that may be looking at him. So we're going to get Morris and Batum as salary filler. And I want to try to get Brandon Boston as a throw-in, who I think could maybe get minutes here. Hasn't really been able to do anything in Los Angeles, obviously buried in the depth chart. But if he came over here to Washington, maybe he'd get an opportunity here, and maybe he can plop off. So I'm going to offer that. We go ahead and get Brandon Boston as a little bit of a throw-in for Chris Paul, and we take on expiring salary, so we don't have to waive Chris Paul and have to pay him some of the guaranteed money that he had left, even though it wasn't much, but still, got rid of him, didn't have to worry about anything like that. And then last but not least is going to be Kristaps Porzingis, which this one's tough because I don't really know what team would want to trade for Porzingis, but we'll try to figure it out. So here's my idea for a Porzingis trade where I try to get 2 first-round picks from the Pelicans. Porzingis accepts his player option, and he'll be going to New Orleans to play with Zion and Brandon Ingram. We're going to be taking on CJ McCollum's contract, and CJ McCollum is still a good player in real life, but in 2K, he starts to regress like crazy, which is why I think it's kind of a bad contract. But if we can get 2 firsts for our worthwhile, I think that would be totally fine. So I'm going to try to send that to them. They want Monty Morris in a 2nd round pick, and then they'll throw me Larry Nance. I mean, that's fine, I guess. They get a really nice backup point guard. We'll throw them a 2nd, and we get 2 firsts for Porzingis. McCollum and Larry Nance are fine, and we could probably flip them later on down the line as well. So we'll do that trade, and just like that, Sid McCollum is here. Probably be a nice mentor to Casey Wallace, if nothing else, and then we could try to flip him at the deadline if he's playing well. So those are all the trades that we did. A lot of different interesting trades. We literally have no direction right now. There's really not a direction. This is going to be a long, drawn-out process, like I said. So CJ McCollum and Casey Wallace is our point guard rotation right now. So Casey Wallace will probably play off the bench or start. We'll see. And then CJ, we'll try to maybe flip him at the deadline. Landry Shamet, Brandon Boston, and Johnny Davis. I would love to get all 3 of these guys some minutes. I want to be able to play Brandon Boston and Johnny Davis. Corey Kispert, and then Chris Murray. We have Denny Avdia, Marcus Morris, Nicholas Batum. I don't want to play Morris or Batum this year. Not really going to matter. We could probably flip them down the line if we want to as well. Then Daniel Gafford, Larry Nance are 2 guys a lot of contending teams would want as well. So there's a lot of guys we still have on our roster that teams would love to have. So we definitely still have a little bit of a direction where we could just trade players and get as many assets as possible. So I think that's going to be it. We're not going to do anything else. This team is about to be very bad. I'm aware of that. But at this point, we don't really have a direction. We're just going to try our best to establish what we can. So Johnny Davis and Casey Wallace are going to get a ton of minutes. Brandon Boston, I'll throw some minutes to as well. And we'll just see what we can do with this team, man. It's going to be interesting, but we're going to try to make it work. So let's get into this next season. Let's look at this rotation, and we'll see how it's going to look going into year 1. It's going to be bad. It's going to be a mess, but it's going to get figured out eventually. So power ranking is going to land us at 30th going into season number 1 with this roster. And CJ McCollum is going to start at point guard. I want him to play as many minutes as possible, draw up his trade value as much as he can, and we can flip him at the deadline. But we got CJ, Johnny Davis, Corey Kispert, Denny Avdia, Daniel Gafford, Larry Nance, Casey Wallace, Landry Shamet, and Brandon Boston. So not a whole lot to expect this season. We're going to be very, very bad. Like very, very bad. But we take a look and at some of the mentorship things we're doing as well. We're going to have Casey Wallace mentored by CJ McCollum until the trade deadline. Then we also have Johnny Davis being mentored by Marcus Morris. It's nothing special, but it's just someone we threw as a mentor for Johnny Davis. That way he can continue to develop as much as possible as well. But shot tendency, CJ McCollum, I want you to take as many shots as you possibly want, my man. So I'm going to move you up as much as possible. Casey Wallace, I'm going to move it up to a 70. And then Brandon Boston, I'm going to go 70. Johnny Davis is already pretty high, but I'll boost it up a little bit as well. I want him to improve as much as possible this year. So let's roll with that. I'll probably see you guys at the trade deadline to hopefully to be able to flip CJ. He can score as much as he wants, and then maybe some team will give us a couple firsts for him because he just looks that good. So we are stopping at the trade deadline, and CJ McCollum has us kind of fighting for the play-in spot. So we got to change that right now because I have no plans of wanting to be in the play-in right now. It makes literally no sense for us to do that. So 20 and 35 on the season right now, and my plan worked to perfection. CJ is averaging 25 points per game, which is exactly what I wanted. So what we're going to do is trade him here and get a couple of firsts for him as much as we can. So I already have a trade lined up that I kind of like, but I'm going to try to squeeze more value out of them. So CJ McCollum being traded over to Miami for a first-round pick in Kyle Lowry. Now, I want to try to get another first out of them if I can. So let's see if I can squeeze one out. So let's say we give them a CJ for 2024, Kyle Lowry in 2028. Let's see what they say. They want a 2024 first. I would hate to give up that first. Is there anything else I can do here that might convince them that, hey, we don't need to do that? I don't think they can take more salary. So maybe we just take the 2024 and protect it. What are they doing right now on the season right now? Where are they at? So Miami is in the 7th seed. If we give them CJ McCollum, they might be better. They may be worse. You know, you never really know with 2K. So that could be a lottery pick. It's still a first-round pick regardless. So you know what? Let's do it. We're going to flip CJ McCollum for that first. We do take Kyle Lowry's expiring. So we got to have his money as well, which is also going to be really good for us. I don't think there's really another better offer here because I wanted a first-round pick. Yeah, let's trade for Bradley Beal again. Why not? Yeah, we're not doing that. So let's just do that Miami trade. We send CJ over to Miami for Kyle Lowry and a future first. Then we can use for this year's first, and then we can use Kyle Lowry as a mentor for Casey Wallace the rest of the year. Sounds like a win-win trade to me, and we get CJ off the team. That way we stop, fighting for the play-in. So that will change that. Casey Wallace is going to start now. There's no reason for Kyle Lowry to start. So yeah, Kyle Lowry, thank you, but no. Casey Wallace is going to start for the rest of the season, and we'll roll with that. So still going to be bad. Hopefully we get even worse because we were fine for the play-in. That was a trade, and we could trade Gafford and Larry Nance in the offseason or keep them. Just kind of depends. At the end of the season, you had the Grizzlies and the Hawks make the finals. Let's go ahead and take a look at the player stats, and we'll see who wins the championship. You had John Davis lead the way with 16, 14.5 from Casey Wallace, 12 from Daniel Gafford, 11.5 from Corey Kispert, 11 from Brandon Boston, and then 10 from Adia, and 9 from Kyle Lowry. So obviously, we're banking on a very good lottery pick this offseason. You had the Hawks go on to win it all, beat the Grizzlies in 7. Retirements got Carmelo retiring a Celtic. I thought he already retired, but sure, shout out to Carmelo for retiring a Boston Celtic, yes. But draft lottery time, this is going to be very, very important. It may say that our pick is going to Oklahoma City, but that's not the case at all. So we are projected the 4th overall pick. Don't have top 3 odds here, which kind of sucks, but, you know, maybe we get lucky. So let's see what happens. Miami looks like they made the playoffs after we gave them CJ, which makes sense. Let's just skip to the results, and let's see if we jump into the top 3 or not, and we are still going to stay at 4. That's better than falling. I'll say that. It's better than falling down the board. So getting a 4th overall pick in this draft is great. And then Miami's pick, what did it turn into? It's going to be pick number 21, which kind of sucks. We have pick 21 and 25 as well, but we can add a couple young players in this draft, and then we could keep going from there. But I got to get my pick back from the Thunder, and then we should go straight to draft night. So I'm also going to look to add another lottery pick here. What we're doing is offering 21 and 25 with Larry Nance. It's a guy that could go to the Knicks and help them right away. This is the 8th overall pick that the Knicks have. So let's see what they say. They do agree. So now we have number 4 and number 8 in this draft, and we trade those other 2 picks that we had later on. So 4 and 8, we can add 2 rookies here that can help out immediately, or not really help out immediately, but become part of this rebuild. So let's see what we can get at pick 4 and 8. I'm excited. I know this draft class is a little underwhelming, but let's see what happens. So we got Isaiah Collier going 1. You're going to have Matt go number 2. Would have loved if he fell to me. Alex Sarr goes number 3. I think it's a no-brainer to me. I'm going to be taking probably Xavier Booker with pick 4, and I'll take whichever forward falls to me at pick 8. So welcome to the team, Xavier Booker, to be our brand new center going forward, and then we can go Ron Holland at pick number 8, who turns into a stud, or we can get Bronny James as well. But I do like the kind of the backcourt we have set right now, so I'm going to go Ron Holland here with pick number 8, and that is going to be a done deal for me. So just like that, we walk away with 2 guys that are immediately going to be part of this rebuild going forward. Both of them should develop very nicely as well, which is also going to be exciting. And then player options, Landry Shamet, I'm actually going to decline it. There's no need to have him anymore. Johnny Davis, Chris Murray, Prosper, and then Kispert, I'll accept all of those. Qualifying offers, Adia and Brandon Boston, 2 guys I definitely have interest in bringing back. I want Boston to be the backup point guard this year, or shooting guard, whichever it may be. But Avdia's a free agent, Morse free agent. Obviously not bringing any of those guys back, but Avdia we're definitely going to try to bring back. But right now, Casey Wallace is your starting point guard. John Davis at the 2. You're going to have Corey Kispert and Ron Holland at the 3. You have Xavier Booker, which we're going to actually move him to center right now. He'll be our 5 going forward. So Booker will be the starting 5 with Gafford backing him up. And then we'll have, obviously, Avdia coming back. We're still not going to be very good. We're still going to be banking on development. But if we can just get our guys back, that's going to be the important part. So I don't want to renounce Avdia. I want Brandon Boston and Avdia back. That's going to be the main thing I'm going to be focused on this offseason. So Avdia, not even asking for too much. I think that's a done deal for me. 4 years, $15 million. That's kind of or even 5 years, $15 million. That's a really good contract. So we'll sign Avdia to that. And then Brandon Boston, let's see where he's at. He is down here somewhere. He's only asked for $8 million per year. Not too bad at all. He could be our backup guard going forward, and that'll be a done deal there as well. And he should also develop a little bit, which is going to be nice. I don't think I'll be signing anybody in free agency. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I do need to sign at least like 1 player or so. Backup power forward. I don't want to spend a lot of money. So like a Kenrich Williams for a minimum sounds good to me. And then let's say we get, I don't know, let's get Kenrich Williams. And then is there anything else I can get? Maybe I can get like a veteran here as a mentor to Casey Wallace, which is something we can bank on. Maybe it's DeLon Wright. We could bring him back. TJ McConnell. We got Chris Dunn, Dennis Schroeder. I mean, any of these got to be fine. Let's bring TJ McConnell in as a backup, 1-year deal. He can mentor Casey Wallace to guess. So that'll be our free agency. Obviously, nothing crazy. But let's go straight to play progression and let's see what our development's looking like going into year 2. So we got David Dia up to an 80, Casey Wallace up to a 78, Johnny Davis up to a 76. Boston is up, McConnell is down, obviously, then Chris Murray is up. So all looking pretty good. We're definitely not going to be very good this next year whatsoever, but again, we're just kind of embracing the youth movement at this point, and eventually things will turn our way. So year number 2 comes to an end, and we get Xavier Booker making an all-rookie first team alongside Ron Holland. So both our rookies we drafted both made an all-rookie first team, and that led to us actually being a play-in team this year, which is honestly quite surprising. Was not expecting that, but if you take a look at the player stats for this season, it had Case Wallace with 19 points per game, Johnny Davis with 17, 15 from Adia, 14 from Booker, and then 13 from Kispert, Ron Holland with 11, Gafford with 11. So We got a lot of guys starting to contribute already, which is a really good sign for us going forward. Now, I don't know if we'll get into the playoffs, but it's a good sign that we're even in the play-in already. So let's see if we can beat the Pacers and we lose. So we're going straight back to the lottery once again, but the fact that we took that jump and we made some noise this year is already a really good sign going forward. So I think we're in a good position. Let's still make the playoffs and let's see who goes on to win the championship. We got some more moves to make this offseason, and then I do want to show you what rotation we were running because I didn't show that, but it was Wallace, Johnny Davis, Kispert, Abdia, Gafford, Xavier Booker was coming off the bench, but he'll probably start next year, Ron Holland, and Brandon Boston. So that's kind of what we were running this year. But regardless, you're going to have the Hawks probably get there again, and they play the Thunder, and the Thunder go on to win the championship. So shout out to the Thunder. So in this year's lottery, we're projected the 9th best odds at jumping into the top 4. It says it's going to the Thunder, but once again, the pick is protected. It's like similarly protected to how Portland's pick is protected for Washington. So let's go ahead and see if it jumps up, and it does not. And it's at pick 10. It actually fell down. So at pick number 10, we get to add another young player to this roster who can contribute, which is really exciting. So we're just continue to kind of organically build through the draft. But like I said, it's already a really good sign that we made strides and made the plan. So I feel like with a little bit of development on our side, we could probably be a playoff team this year, a sneaky one. I don't know if we're a contender. By any means, we're not a contender. But if Wallace can keep developing and John Davis is going to keep developing, there is a point in time where we could be a sneaky contender potentially. We'll see. But let's go straight to our 10th overall pick. Let's add another really good player here. You have Trent Flowers. You have Carter Knox. You have Isaiah Evans, Trent Flowers, who I said earlier, Stojakovic, Taj Jacobs. I don't know much about this. AJ Johnson, Petit. I think I'm gonna go Stojakovic. Why not for Peja? We'll go with him, and then that will be our draft. I don't even know how good he is out of this draft class. I would have loved getting a higher pick in this draft, but Stojakovic 72 overall. He may not play right away, which is fine. Trent Flowers, I guess, would have been a better pick, so that's my bad. And then Castleton, who's 72, we'll sign him as well. Player options: Case Wallace, Johnny Davis, 2 guys we're obviously going to accept, and then Prosper, Murray, Kispert. I do have interest in bringing all of them back if we can. And then free agency. We're not really a free agency destination, so I don't think I'll be signed. Well, I could. We might sign someone. We'll see. So if I think there was any position I want to upgrade on this rotation right now, it'd be the small forward spot. Now, I'm not going to go for Jason Tatum because that just seems kind of wild that Tatum would come to Washington. LeBron, kind of same thing. But I'm kind of looking at like guys that are restricted that maybe we could steal them away from their teams. Like Scotty Barnes would be interesting. You can get him away from Toronto. Franz Wagner, Markkanen, or even a guy like Jaden McDaniels who could just come in and be a 3-and-D role player. Because right now we could give Corey Kispert like $20 million, right? Which would be fine. And he's averaging 13 points per game on 44% shooting from 3. So that's very valuable. Don't get me wrong. So I do still want him back. Or we could even get like a Cora who is unrestricted. And he didn't even play last year apparently, but he shot 41% from 3. And he could be a nice 3-and-D role player for this team as well at a very cheap contract. So kind of looking at all these guys, I know the home run will be go get Scotty Barnes, but the likelihood of Toronto just letting him go, very unlikely. So you know what? Since Okoro is unrestricted, let's give him a 4-year deal. He'll probably go up to an 83 overall this offseason as well. I know he does that in the past. So getting Okoro on that kind of contract, I think it's going to be really nice. And he can be kind of a guy we bank on. He just shot 41% from 3. And we can still bring Corey Kispert back as well if we wanted as well. And then we could trade him potentially down the line. We do have Ron Holland who could back up Okoro right now if we wanted him to. And Avdia and then Booker and Gafford. Yeah, we could probably get Kispert back and move him to the 4. So we'll probably do that. And we'll sign a veteran backup point guard again. So veteran backup point guard we got like Cole Anthony or a Trey Mann off the bench, Jalen Noel, Killian Hayes, Terrence Mann. Like any of these guys would be great. So I want to try to make a push toward the playoffs next year. So let's go with Jose Alvarado off the bench, and then we'll sign Corey Kispert to the contract he's asking for on day 12 because I don't want to have to pay him a ton of money, but you know, obviously shooting 44% from 3 is very, very valuable. So I can see a world where he does get paid that much, especially if he was doing that in real life and became like a really good role player. I think a lot of teams would value that. So I'm going to give him kind of a similar contract I gave to Okoro, 4 year 17.5, and he's going to sign that, and he'll be our new backup 4. And I'm hoping development is looking really good for us this offseason. So we got Abdi up to an 83, Kispert, Lost up to an 80, Gafford, and then 80, 80, 79. So everyone's developing, which is really good. Everyone on this roster is hitting development stride, and we should be in it we should be an interesting team this year. Don't know if we're a contender, but we made the plan last year. Maybe there's a world where we get the 6th seed this year and we avoid the play-in entirely. I think that is definitely very, very possible. We'll see how it goes. I'm hoping for the best. Gonna pray for the best here. So let's see how it goes. So let's get straight into this rotation. That way I don't have to show you guys the end of season like I did last year. But Wallace, Johnny Davis, Kispert are still going to start, which actually what I want to do is, like I said, I want Kispert to be the backup 4. He actually even goes up in overall, so maybe he starts. Who knows? So, no, it'll be Casey Wallace, Johnny Davis, Isaac Okoro, Denny Avdia, Daniel Gafford, Corey Kispert, Ron Holland, Xavier Booker, and Jose Alvarado, with Brandon Boston not getting minutes, which I actually want Brandon Boston to get minutes over Alvarado, to be honest with you. So, Daniel Gafford, I do love him as a backup. I do want Booker to eventually be the starter, though, which I think eventually he'll be a better overall than Gafford, so that will change. Proficiency, we're a 3.5 balance, so maybe I'll stop at the deadline and make a move. Maybe not. I'll show you guys if we do, but let's just see how it goes. Ron Holland actually gets 6th man of the year this year, as we have good news, boys. This year, we actually avoided the play-in, and like I said, we're in the playoffs. We're the 5th seed in the East. Now, are we going to be a contender? Probably not, but I'm just kind of glad we're here. So, Case Wallace is averaging 23 points per game, 7 assists. Johnny Davis with 19, 16 from Denny Avdia, 13 from Ron Holland, 12 from Booker, 12 from Gafford, 9 from Corey Kispert, 7 from Brandon Boston, and then 5 from Isaac Okoro. So, overall, this team is just kind of hitting on all cylinders. Now, I don't know, like I said, if we're really contender just yet. We do get Cleveland in round 1, so this would be the ultimate test. If we can push Cleveland to a few games, then maybe we are a contender. But they got KCP. They do not have Donovan Mitchell anymore, which is a good sign for us. So maybe, just maybe we could upset Cleveland. I don't know. Garland did just win MVP, so the odds of that happening are kind of slim. But game 1, we're down 1-0. Game 2, down 2-0. Game 3, we do win. Okay, game 4, we even it up. Can we win 3 straight? No, we can't. Okay, we're going to game 6. But if we can force a game 7, anything is possible. I'm going to listen to what 2K has to suggest. We'll see how it goes. Game 6 in DC. Let's see if we could push this Cleveland Cavaliers team to a game 7. Right now they have the lead, but we're sneaking back into it. Kind of a close game, and we do steal it at the end. Now, do we keep the lead? We do not. We lose by 1. We're going home. But Casey Wallace with 38 and 10 is a really good sign of what we could potentially do this offseason. We have some assets. We have some things we can use at our disposal. There is a trade we could make if we wanted. It just kind of depends. What I think I'll do is I'm going to go to player progression, see how well the player progression is going, and then we got to see what lottery pick we have if we have one from someone. I know our pick is going to finally convey to Oklahoma City, but we got Milwaukee's pick, which is projected to be a top 4 pick. Number 1 best odds. I don't know if there's protections on it. I literally cannot remember. And we walk away with the 5th overall pick via Milwaukee. So if we wanted to, we could add another rookie to this team, or we could make a trade, which is probably what I'm going to lean with that 5th overall pick. And then we might have another pick in this draft. I'm not totally sure. No, it's going to go to the Thunder. That's right. So 5th overall pick, combine some contracts. Could be talking about bringing a really good player to this team. So we're going to take a look at all options here. So with the 5th overall pick, I went ahead and selected Koa Pete. There's no guarantee that he's staying here because I do have still the option of making a big trade if I want to, but I kind of want to wait till the end of the offseason because I want to see what progression is going to look like. That's what I'm kind of looking at this point. I want to see what player progression is for us, and I want to see if it's even necessary to maybe make that big trade, and then we can have literally every option at our disposal. So Johnny Davis not even asking for too much money either. Like, that's really good. And then Gafford as a backup, I still think he has been solid for us. So gonna sign Gafford. I think wow, they want me to renounce Johnny Davis. I'm not doing that. So we are spending a lot of money, but I think it's gonna be worth it because we're starting to get somewhere. So Johnny Davis, I'm gonna give him a contract, and none of these guys are making like a max salary yet either, which is also really good. So Chris Murray, I do have interest in bringing you back. Probably will bring you back right now, actually. That way we might be able to throw you in a trade. So I'll bring back Chris Murray, and then Prosper will come back at his qualifying offer. I don't think I'll be signing any free agents. We don't really have cap space anymore anyway, but I do have the idea of trying to make a big trade. But I want to see what progression looks like first before I go that route. So player progression, we take a real quick look at it. I want to see who is developed very nicely and who's not. So progression, Prosper's back, which is fine. You have Corey Kispert up to an 83, Wallace up to 82, Booker's up to an 82, and then Johnny Davis is only to an 80. So he didn't really change. So that's something I got to keep in mind. If we look at this roster right now, it's nice. It's not bad. But I feel like we need that bona fide star, and we don't really have that right now. Case Wallace is obviously kind of developed into that for us, averaging 24, which is amazing. So he's locked into that point guard or in the shooting guard spot if we decide to trade for a guard. I don't know. Booker at the center is great. I'm really looking at the forward spots. I think I want to upgrade at the forward spot. I like Avdia, I like Kispert, and I like what Ron Holland has done for us as well. But if we can upgrade at the forward spots, I think that's what I want to do. So we're going to try to do that. We'll see what forward could maybe make sense on this team and see if we can get a really good trade and push us into that contender status. So right now I have my eyes set on Jabari Smith Jr. 24 points per game. He's up to a 91 overall. He'd immediately be the upgrade we're looking for to maybe push us into that contender status echelon. So Jabari is who I'm going for. I'm going to try to get him without giving up both Abdia and Kispert. So let's throw Kispert in here, and then let's also throw Okoro in here. So Corey Kispert, Isaac Okoro. I don't know if that gets it done. We're probably going to have to include Koa P, who we just drafted, who's going to have a ton of trade value, which they can't even take him. So 877k off. So let's do, instead of having, who was that? Instead of Okoro in there, let's say we did maybe Castleton, who we also just drafted. So Kispert, Koa P, and then we throw every first round we can at them and see what they say. Let's pretend this is a 2031 pick and not back-to-back first rounders. Let's see what they say. They do agree. We get Jabari Smith Jr. Welcome to Houston, my friend. And that was the big move we needed. So Wallace, Alvarado, John Davis, Brandon Boston, Ron Holland, Isaac Okoro, and then Chris Murray. And then we have Abdia and Jabari. So I think I want to have, obviously, Abdia still start. He's actually going to go up to an 84, which is great. So Jabari will be that 4. So Abdia will be the starting 3. We can move Ron Holland or Okoro to the 4, which will probably move Ron Holland there. He might even go up in overall. I don't know. And he goes down, which is fine. But this will be our rotation going into next year. Let's just go take a look at it. So I think with Jabari coming in, that should push us into that contender status. That's what I think is going to happen. Will it happen? I don't know. But we needed something. I couldn't really just bank on the 83 overalls that we have spread around was going to work. It could have, maybe, but I'm glad we're going in this direction instead. So we're literally loading a 2028 draft class, which is the wrong draft class, by the way. I should have loaded 2027. But regardless, Power Ranking lands is number 8. It's Cason Wallace, Johnny Davis, Abdia, with Jabari being the lead guy here now. Booker at the 5, Okoro, Gafford, Ron Holland, and Brandon Boston, with Alvarado out there as well, who could come in if we need him to. 4-star balance. A really good feeling about this team this year. The proficiency is looking really good. Let's sum it this season. Let's expect that we're going to be a good team in the East and potentially a top 3 seed. So as expected, at the end of this year, we got the 2nd seed in the Eastern Conference. If we take a look at the player stats, we had 22 from Jabari, 22 from Cason Wallace, 18 from Booker, 17 from Johnny Davis, 13 from Abdia, 12 from Holland, 9 from Gafford, and then 8 from Brandon Boston. We do draw the Charlotte Hornets in round 1. They have LaMelo Ball, Paul McNeil, Brandon Miller, Jeremy Sohan, Nick Claxton, Sadiq Bey, Jason, Jakob Poeltl, and Chris Boucher. So a pretty solid team in Charlotte. Not going to lie. I really love the addition of Sohan and Claxton defensively. That's kind of nice. And then Brandon Miller, he's a 19 point per game scorer. Hasn't done anything too crazy, but kind of efficient 3-point shooter for Charlotte. So that's probably what you'd like if you're the Charlotte Hornets. But regardless, I'm hoping we do not lose to them. Let's somebody occur around against Charlotte. They win game 1, but we win the next 4 and we take care of them. So just like that, Charlotte's out of our way. We've won our very first playoff series in this video. This is the 2nd time we've made the playoffs in this video. But we get Miami in round 2. We got Nick Smith, OG, Jimmy, Randall, and Udoka Azubuike. So no longer do they have Bam Adebayo. They still do have Tyler Hero, but they've brought in OG and Julius Randle and Nick Smith. So a very, very interesting team in Miami. But with no center down low, and it's Udoka Azubuike, I have a good feeling about this. But the roster is kind of decent. Nick Smith's averaging 22 in the playoffs, so who knows? Let's see what happens. Somebody crown against Miami, and we are going to beat them in 5 as well, and we don't even have to play Cleveland or Atlanta. So maybe this is our ticket here. We do get Detroit. Detroit can be scary sometimes as well, so it's no guarantee. But they don't have Jaden Ivey. They have Abaji instead, which is still a very good player. Isaac, Jarris Walker, Jalen Duren, Naz Reid, Isaiah Joe, Santi Aldama, Isaiah Evans, and Dallas Thomas. Honestly, I think we should beat this team. I really do. But let's see what happens. Game 1, down 1-0. Game 2, we even it up. Game 3, we win. Game 4, 3-1. So far, we've beaten every single team in 5. Will that continue? And yes, we're in the NBA Finals. All we need to do was bring in Jabari, and now we get to play either Memphis or New Orleans, and we do get the Pelicans. So Jason Tatum is a Pelican, probably with Zion Williamson, right? And they got Barris as a starting center. They have Grady Dick. They have Colin Sexton, Clint Capella. So a very good team in New Orleans. So there's no guarantee we win a championship here, but you never know. Game 1, 1-0 start. Game 2, 2-0 start. Game 3, we're about to just sweep the Pelicans, baby. And let's go. We're on a streak now. We won a championship yesterday with the Bradley Beal Suns. We won a championship with the Washington Wizards after resetting this team, as Cason Wallace was your finals MVP. So love it. We lost 3 games in total in the playoffs, which is amazing. So we went on a great run. Love to see it. This team ended up winning a championship. It was very well rounded, a lot of defense as well. So I really love what we were able to do on this team. There's a lot to like here. Is this how the Wizards will get back to contender for their life? Probably not, but it was still fun regardless. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. The draft is like, what, 3 days away? It's going to be very, very exciting. This is Crushables. I'm saying peace. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you click here to watch another video that I know you'll love.